Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you, my dear students? I hope you all are fine and enjoying your good health with your family as well. Lovely students, I'm going to welcome you once again in Pakistan International School TAIF virtual learning system. And this is class for subject biology and for grade 10th. Dear students, in the previous topic, in the previous lecture as well, we are doing disorders of lungs or respiratory system. Today we will continue it because just a few. Yes, dear students. Or last but not the least, we will discuss a very, very important, dangerous, as well as very, very common disorder of respiratory system of human beings, that is lung cancer. Dear students, you are almost aware of cancer. What is it actually? As you have studied in grade 9th as well, that cancer is actually uncontrolled growth of abnormal cells in one or in any area of the body. So likewise, in lung cancer, that can be possible, that uncontrolled growth of abnormal cells can be happened in one or both of the lungs. In that, this is very, very lethal and a dangerous situation for human being, because these abnormal cells do not carry out functions of the normal lung cells and do not develop into healthy lung again. So what are the causes actually of this lung cancer, and what are like the treatments, and what are the symptoms of lung cancer? We will discuss right now. If you see in this diagram, here is a tumor-like structure that actually called a tumor. The lung cancer, whatever the cancer is there, so the tumors appear because the uncontrolled the division of the cells occurs. So uncontrolled division of the cells, they just make a bump-like structure that is called this. If you see this lungs, it is having tumor, uncontrolled cell growth is there. This is affected lung. This is very large and big tumor in the lungs. And some causes are there. We'll discuss them later on. And here in X-ray, you can see also the affected lung. The main causes of lung cancer are carcinogens. Carcinogens means to prepare. Carcino means cancer. So the agents which can be the cause of cancer in any part of the body, they are called carcinogens. Number two, very, very main cause, important cause, that is cigarette smoke. Some ionization radiations are there, and viral infections. You can see here in this image the affected lung with cancer. Some risk factors of lung cancers or the causes of lung cancers can be smoking of cigarettes, increases risk 20 times than the normal person. Radon, that is a radioactive gas that is found in soil, that is tasteless, odorless, and that is called, we cannot see that one also, so and smellless as well, and that is radioactive gas, and that can be inhaled, which is found and which is released from the soil, and that can destroy the lungs. Asbestos is also the toxic substance which is used in building materials, in cement, for the insulation of the roofings and ceilings of the homes and tiles and in the buildings, and that can be released from there. Asbestos fibers are released from that, and that can be inhaled with the air, and that can destroy our lungs. Environmental tobacco exposure, people use pipes, people use cigarettes for that smoking as well. Some genetic causes are there in first degree relatives, like first relatives. If the very close relatives they are having this type of disease, the person can have the great chances of this lung cancer. Some other diseases, if especially emphysema and pneumonia, the person is suffering from that again and again, so that can be the cause of lung cancers. And some radiations, if the persons can suffer from the chest x-ray, CT scan again and again, so that can cause lung cancer. Then next we will see some of the symptoms of lung cancers, so especially coughing, and coughing with blood as well. So that coughing up blood, so it means that can be the cause of TB, tuberculosis as well. But if other symptoms are there, so they can have to visit to the doctor. And unexplained weight loss, shoulder, arm, chest, and back pain. If the person is suffering shortness of breath, and repeated respiratory infections are there, and persistent cough is there, so it means the person, not only this, but after the diagnosis of this problem with the laboratory test, so the person can have lung cancer. Lung cancer can be more lethal if it is some of the affected tissues, some of the abnormal tissues transfer from the lungs to other tissues and parts of the body. That is called metastasis. And we know that that can affect any other part of the body. So there is a treatment recommended by the doctors, that is radiation therapy, chemotherapy, immune therapy, targeted therapy, and surgery as well. Some of the time in surgery, just affect, if there is lobar cancer, means one of the lobe of the lungs is affected, so the lobe can be cut down and removed from the lungs. Sometimes one lung can be removed if most of the parts are affected. Sometimes just a piece of that lung can be removed. And it is in the bronchi and bronchioles, so part of the bronchioles can be removed and others can be stitched with one another, not, for just to save from losing the air. And chemotherapy, like radiation therapy, this is radiation and targeted therapy as well. We can say the radiation therapy, while inhale and exhale, the tumor moves and that radiation just throws directly on that tumor, which is diagnosed with various tests, so that where the tumor is present, so that can break or just destroy the tumor like after some minutes of radiation therapy. And we can also give medicines, and sometimes there's only one therapy suggested, but most of the sometimes one, two, or all the therapies are suggested if the conditions are worst, so they can be suggested collectively. One of the major cause of lung cancer we'll discuss here in detail, that is smoking. We know that when smoking of the cigarette reduces the cigarette, likewise the person reduces its life 5 minutes in every cigarette. So we will see here the difference between a healthy lung and smoker's lung. In healthy people, the lungs are light pink, but in smoker's lung, the lungs appear dark and mottled. Why it is happened, we will see right here in bad effects of smoking. First, we will see what is in a cigarette. In cigarette, all those chemicals are present, which are present in very, very dangerous things, which can be possibly dangerous for human health. Separately, they are dangerous, but in one cigarette, they are collectively appeared and having very drastic effects. If we start from here, one of the major cause of this blackish lungs, that is nicotine, which is present in insecticides which kill the insects. So they can kill the insects. So gradually, slowly, when the person smokes smokes the cigarette, that can be accumulated in the lungs, and that make the lung cancer and the lungs blackish in color. Then we are having ammonia, which is used in toilet cleaners as well. They are used in the fertilizers, but in worse effects in the toilet cleaners. It can clean the toilet, like destroy some parts of the germs and like stains. It can also damage the lungs. Some chemicals which are like toluene and some other aromatic compounds which are present in paints, they are also present in cigarette. Methanol, which is present in rocket fuels, that is also present. Carbon monoxide, it is not having any smell and taste, and like that is also destroying the lungs gradually and slowly, but we don't know. Arsenic, which is actually the poison, that is also present in cigarettes. Methane, that is sewer gas, that which is released in gutters and in sewage pipes, so that is also present in cigarette. Acetic acid, which is present in vinegar. Butane, that is gas present in lighter, liquid compressed gas, which is present in lighters to enlighten the fire, so that is also present in the cigarette. Cadmium, which is present in batteries. Stearic acid, which is present in candle wax, and hexamine, which is present in barbecue lighter, and toluene, which is present in industrial solvents. These are all very, very harmful chemicals which are present in the cigarette. And how does that affect on the human health? That 1 out of 2 long-term smokers which continuously smoking for a longer period of time, they die from tobacco. And every cigarette smoked cuts your 5 minutes of life on average. And smoking is the single largest preventable, but it is preventable, but it is the largest cause of disease, which disease? Lung cancer especially, and premature death as well. Cigarettes contain more than 4,000 toxic carcinogens or carcinogenic chemicals. 1 out of 4 persons are heart patients which smokes, and 3 out of 4 chronic bronchitis victims which are smokers. So drastic effects, lethal effects which can damage or which can destroy our health. So if we talk about passive smoking is not only like dangerous for smokers, but that is also dangerous for non-smokers. Non-smokers, that is also called secondhand smoking. Like if you are sitting near the smoker, so that is more dangerous to you than the smokers, because smokers smoke through this filter which is at the back of the cigarette that filters out some of the chemicals, but we are smoking without filters, that is passive smoking. And the inhalation of smoke from others smoking, that is also very, very dangerous. So risk for smoking are those, some chronic diseases are there and some cancers are there, like we are having head, neck cancer, lung cancer, leukemia, blood cancer, stomach, kidney, pancreas, colon, bladder, and cervix. Cancers are related with the smoking, and we are having chronic diseases like brain hemorrhage, strokes, and less diffusion of oxygen into the blood, especially in the cells of brain. Blindness is there, gum infections, aortic rupture, heart diseases, pneumonia, hardening of arteries, that is also called hardening of arteries. That is actually due to we know, we have studied in grade 9th also, that is due to nicotine, which is present in which is present in the cigarette. Tar is also present, which make the lungs blackish and appear, and also the cause of lung cancer. And that hardening of the arteries, that is called atherosclerosis, as we know. Chronic lung cancer and asthma is there. Reduced fertility and hip fractures can also be caused by smoking. So there are lots of uh, ill effects of smoking. Then atherosclerosis is also there, which increases, like carbon monoxide in the smoke of cigarette can also lessen the oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin, and many other chemicals in smoke increases the production of blood platelets, and which we know that increasing of the blood platelets, that increases that can be the cause of any plaque which can appear in the blood, and that can block the arteries, and we can have the problem atherosclerosis. So that can lead to heart diseases or heart attack. uh, so let's say no to smoking. If around you anybody is smoking, just convince that person not to smoke, and give the some of the reasons which we have discussed here. And for that, we also celebrate World No Smoking Day on 31st of May every year, to just to make the world aware of that hazardous like for a lot of the symptoms of that and hazardous effects of that smoking on the heart and all of our health. So dear students, by this we have completed our chapter number 10, and that is lung cancer, with the last topic, lung cancer. And now that was all about respiration and respiratory system of human body. Today we will see the next topic, that the next topic as well as the next chapter number 11, that is homeostasis. And homeostasis, we will see in this chapter about homeostasis in plants, homeostasis. Yes, dear students, so we will going to start homeostasis. And as we, if you can see here that homeostasis term, first of all, proposed by Claude Bernard in 1865. He just talked about that the person is having internal system which we have to maintain. And in this chapter, we will see some concepts, that we will see homeostasis in plants, homeostasis in humans, then urinary system of humans, and then we'll see disorders of kidney. So let's start. First of all, some concepts about homeostasis. Actually, what is homeostasis? Homeostasis means keeping things constant. So if we just see, this is combination or compound word, combination of two words, that is homeo and then stasis. Homeo and stasis. So homeostasis is the combination of two words, homeo and stasis. Homeo means similar and stasis means stable. So that's why homeostasis refers to stability, balance, and or equilibrium within a cell or the body. Actually, it is the characteristics of a system that regulates its internal environment and tends to maintain a stable, relatively constant conditions of properties. So homeostasis means to balance to balance the systems of the body regarding whatever the conditions are outside. Now we'll see some examples in daily life in our body, like human temperature. It can be, it has to be regulated at 37°C and 98.6°F, because we know that enzymes in our body and biochemical reactions in our body just occur at 37°C or 98.6°F. So if the temperature is raised or decreased, so our body tries to maintain the temperature. And if we rise the temperature, so what will happen? We are having fever, and due to fever, lots of enzymes are going to destroy, because we know that enzymes are made up of proteins, and proteins are going to be denatured, and our body will not function properly. Then another example, that is blood glucose level. That is 1 gram per liter of the blood. So it cannot be increased or decreased. If it is increased, so that can be diabetes; decreased, so that can be also the problem, like for the brain and heart tissues. Then the blood pH will also have to be maintained at 7.35°C, a little bit basic. Alkaline, but it has to be maintained according to this, not to be less and not to be high. There is blood pressure, which can be maintained about 120/80 mm of Hg per healthy person, but in male and female there is some differences, like 110/70 that can be in some women, but 120/80 in most of the persons, that is the normal one. So if we see some examples of homeostasis, from like how we maintain, or how not only we but other organisms, how do they maintain their body conditions. So there are certain processes by which they maintain that. First one is osmoregulation. Osmoregulation means, osmo means the water concentration as compared to its solute concentration, like tonicity of the body has to be maintained. So the maintenance of constant osmotic pressure in the fluids of an organism's body by control of water and salt concentration. So osmotic pressure will be maintained, while we just maintain salt concentration in the blood and tissue as well. So here you can see in the diagram hypertonic, isotonic, and hypertonic conditions outside of the environment. So that has to be maintained according to the outside environment. So what will happen, these are blood tissues. If hypertonic is outside, so blood will come out of these cells and cell will shrink and destroyed. And if there is isotonic, let's first talk about hypotonic. If hypotonic condition outside means less glucose, less solute level, so water will go inside, because inside will be hypertonic condition. So more water intake means the cell can be ruptured. So to maintain that osmoregulation, that must be in isotonic condition, how much water come out, and that will amount of water will move inside the cells. If we talk about the next step, that how can we maintain, there is another, the maintaining of then we will see the next step or next process of homeostasis, that is thermoregulation. Therm means temperature and regulation, to maintain that temperature. So it is the ability of an organism to keep its body temperature with certain boundaries even when the surrounding temperature is very different. For example, in summer and winter, to extreme temperature in summer and winter, they will definitely affect our body temperature as well, but our body tries to maintain the temperature. So you can see that in winter, to maintain body temperature, we wear warm clothes as well, but to maintain the same 98.6 degree temperature, our body shivers. Shivering occurs for the maintenance of the body temperature. Like outside is cold, so our body must get maintain its temperature about 98.6. So by shivering, whatever our muscles and our body gets warmer. And in opposite of that, in summer we sweat. By sweating, what happens? Our body exhausts our heat from from whole of our cells, and by the sweating and perspiration, when heat is exhausted out, so we feel cold, and our body maintain the temperature at 98.6 degree. Then we can see another procedure or process of homeostasis, that is excretion. Excretion is the process by which metabolic wastes are eliminated from the organisms to maintain internal conditions at equilibrium. So if it will not happen, that will have the drastic effects on our body, like a whole of the unwanted or missed metabolic waste will keep inside our bodies. So our body cells can destroy, brain can destroy, the heart can be failed, and we can have sudden death. So on daily basis, we just release our metabolic waste from our body. That is not happen in human beings, but all other living organisms. But in vertebrates, that is happen by the lungs, kidneys, and skins. In this diagram, you can see by respiration we exhale carbon dioxide and oxygen, and by excretory system we exhale or we just to release or excrete metabolic waste through urine, and from digestive system we can excrete through anus undigested food, and also from the circulatory system, lymphatic system, we release also lots of gases and lots of other materials. And through our skin as well, we just release sweating, and we remove excess water and salts from our skin. So what is the importance of homeostasis? Actually, it helps animals to maintain a stable internal and external environment. What type of environment is outside? So there are lots of steps by which they can maintain, like baroregulation for maintaining the pressure, hormonal regulation to maintain the internal hormones and pH level as well, metabolic activities as well, thermoregulation, maintaining of temperature, internal and external force regulations are there, what type of forces inside and outside are there, and psychosocial regulation as well. Sometimes it releases our anger, sometimes we are happy, like that is all mood fluctuation is also a homeostasis process. We will see homeostasis in plants. The first and foremost topic of this chapter, plants do not have, we know that, specific systems like animals to maintain their body conditions. Plants don't have organ system levels, we know that. So how do plants maintain their body homeostasis? That is removal of extra carbon dioxide and oxygen, the first one. The gases that we have seen already in respiration chapter, that gaseous exchange is done. So we know that in daytime no waste gases are present due to respiration photosynthesis, because they go side by side. So the gases which are removed or released in photosynthesis process, that are utilized in respiration, and vice versa. But in night time, because photosynthesis is not there, only respiration is there, so carbon dioxide is accumulated over there, and that is removed from the body by diffusion in the leaves and young stems. As we know that this all is happened from where? Through stomata. Removal of extra oxygen, extra carbon dioxide, that is removed from by the stomata, and in the young roots and young stems, in young roots from root hairs, and young stems from general body surfaces as well. If we talk about removal of extra water, we have also discussed in detail in grade 9, because that loss of extra water from the plant surface in the form of vapors, that is called transpiration. So you can see from xylem tissues what is going to happen, like water absorbs by the roots and it goes up by the transpiration process, by transpiration pull outside. Low water potential is there, so what happened, the water is removed from down by xylem and up and through the leaves, through stomata, and into the air, into the surroundings. That is happened in daytime because stomata are open like this in the daytime. Okay, through here water remove here into the mesophyll cells, and from mesophyll cells into the stomata and from outside. So but in nighttime stomata are closed and there is no transpiration. So what will happen there? There is another process that is called guttation, and by guttation that is water is removed in the morning and in the night time as well. And that is happened also in the hydrophytes also, where the plants live all the time in the water. So appearance of drops of water on the tips of edges or the edges of the leaves through special pores. Here special pores are present through which excess water is removed. They are called hydrothoids. These hydrothoids are special openings and special pores which are present, here at the edges of the leaves. You can see guttation in some of the leaves, you can see in the grasses as well, that is happened. And in the morning time mostly we see them, and in the night time as well, because um, water is not transpired in the night time and in very morning time. So what happened, water is accumulated in the xylem vessels, here in the xylem vessels, and through xylem vessels the water is stored in uh, there in some time air in the spaces as well, and water is continuously absorbing through the roots, through the soil, but it is not releasing through transpiration. So by that transpiration is not done in the night, but by that pressure which is done by the water which is absorbed by the roots, so that is pulled off through the special pores, those are called hydrothoids, and that process is called guttation. And that is very important property of removal of the water from the plants. The other is dew. Sometimes we are confused between the dew and guttation drops. But remember one thing, guttation drops are just present at the edges and the tips of the leaves and the droplets, and these are also called pearls of the nature. And but dew is actually that is formed when the water condenses from atmosphere onto the plant surface, and that is happened in the cold environment, especially in the night time, because outside environment is closed. So like we perspire, we perspire, but we remove, that is guttation. But outside environment, air is cold in the evening, morning, and in the night time. So that the water drops which are present in the air, they are condensed on certain surfaces, and if they are in the leaves and on the grasses, so they are just accumulated in the forms of drops, that is called dew drops. And that dew, like that water droplets also condensed on some buildings and some materials which are present outside in the night time, so we can feel that wet as well. But especially when they are present on the leaves and the plants, they are called dew drops. So don't be confused between these two terms. Next, last but not the least, we will talk about the removal of some metabolic waste from plants' body. Actually, plants deposit metabolic waste in their bodies as harmful materials and sometimes crystals. Those crystals, especially calcium oxalate, and we are having that in the tomatoes especially, but some time the leaves, you can see here calcium oxalate crystals. Actually, that is the waste material, but they are harmless substances, harmless crystals that are accumulated in the plants. But when it is eaten, like for example, tomatoes are eaten more in quantity in human beings, so these calcium oxalate can be accumulated in the kidneys, and that can lead the kidney stones. That metabolic waste can be removed also when the leaf fall. Metabolic waste are some most of the time oxalic that is calcium oxalate crystals that are accumulated in the leaves and then leave fall in the autumn season and fall season. Sometimes the resins are released. You can see here resins are released and removed from the barks and from the coniferous trees. Coniferous trees, they are cone-like and they're present in the northern areas of Pakistan, and they release these type of resins, and they are natural resins. They are used in lots of products and daily life products. Gums are also released from, you can see the kikar trees, like the trees which are present in the desert and dry areas, and they are released in the gum. That is actually having very lots of benefits regarding health. So we we use as medicines and eatables as well. Latex is also removed from rubber plants. That is also a natural latex, a natural rubber, and by using that we make lots of rubber products from that. Mucilage is also the sticky and transparent, sometimes white and transparent substance which is released most of the time from carnivorous plants, and and also ladyfinger. If you know okra, ladyfinger, which we cook as a vegetable, and that is that release some transparent sticky substance, that is mucilage. And these are salt crystals, calcium oxalate crystals. That is actually guttation. That is also removal of wastewater, and that is gum or glue. That is latex, which is released by the rubber plants. You can see here, this is a carnivorous plant that is called sundew. And that sundew, because it appears, if you see, that appears like a sun, and because in these branches it is dew-like drops, and these dew-like drops actually it's a waste material, mucilage actually, and this mucilage helps to trap the insects which come inside, and they will not look. You can see here it's trapping the insect by this mucilage. That insect stick with that mucilage and can never go away. And these are carnivorous plants, like we are having sundew, and we are having other like pitcher plant as well, which are carnivorous plants. So dear students, that's it for today. We have seen in this chapter lots of things in detail, like hemostasis and examples of hemostasis. Then we have seen osmoregulation, thermoregulation, regulation of temperature and excretion, the removal of waste material. Then we have seen osmoregulation in plants and about some waste materials which are released from the plants. Dear students, I hope you understood and enjoyed the lecture. Wish you all the best.